Hi there, I'm Clarence Waldron. Welcome back to Black Muse. Tonight's guest, you will never believe, we have the legendary Ray Parker Jr. Oh, we know his music. Ghostbusters, Who You Gonna Call? Jack and Jill. I don't think that band should sleep alone. A Woman Needs Love. The other woman, and the list goes on and on. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this one. So I'm going to just try to calm down and let Ray tell the story. Hey, Ray, what's going on?
What's going on? I'm glad to be here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's dig right in. Let's start at the very top. I know you have a big following in Japan. So tell us about the difference between the American audience versus the Japanese audience. Or is there a difference?
That's not really a difference. I mean, the Japanese audience are more into who played what. They break it all the way down to who's playing the drums, who's playing the tambourine, who's playing the. I mean, they get more into that. But you would be surprised when we go to Japan. They party just like we party here.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Now, Ray, in the last few weeks or maybe a month, we've lost several musical giants.
Yeah,
I'm
we
thinking
have.
about Jerry Butler and Roberta Flack and Angie Stone and Chris Jasper, and there's a few more. The list goes on and on. Did you know any of them personally? And then how will you remember them?
Well, except for Jerry Butler, I knew all the rest personally. Well, that's not true. I didn't know Roberta Flack, but Roy Ayers I knew,
Right.
and yeah, so it's yeah, bummer, man. I
Yeah.
mean, we all getting up in age, and I guess, my fear is one day I look in the mirror and I don't see myself. Where's Ray at? Oh, yeah, he's gone. So
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
pretty amazing. And you mentioned some names, but I know a lot more that's passed even over that.
Mm.
And it's just pretty soon the band is going to be bigger on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So where do you live now? I thought you lived in LA, but maybe you don't. So where
No,
do
no, I
you
live in Lake Tahoe, Nevada,
Oh, okay. Where'd you move then? Where'd you move
about
there?
5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the whole wildfires did not impact you at all.
No,
No.
I still have a home in the LA area.
Oh,
And the winds were so bad it blew apart my tennis court.
whoa.
It took 5 real metal poles and dug it right out of the concrete, and then just knocked everything around. So I got some significant damage, not even close to significant as the people who lost their homes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's nothing like that. So my problem, it's hard to even mention it because there's
Yeah.
so many others that lost everything.
Exactly. Okay, I want to play a little game here. I want to do the backstory on some of your biggest hits. Let's start with Jack and Jill.
There you go.
You told Ebony years ago that you wrote that song in 30 minutes. Is that correct? 30 minutes?
Not much longer. No,
Oh,
I did a bunch of rewrites on it. You know. And I'm going to credit this guy, David Rubinson, who I used to work with. He used to produce the Pointer Sisters and Herbie Hancock and manage them and all that. When I first wrote Jack and Jill, I had a guy doing something, a guy doing this, and then why do you think Jack go downhill? And he was the guy that came to me and said, well, since you're already saying Jack and Jill, Jack sunk down the hill, get some love he could get from Jill. In the verses, why don't you make Jack do it and make Jill do it? And I was like, man, that's a really good idea. So Jack wanted someone to feel sat up on the hill, and Jill never away from him. And then that's why Jack went down the hill, and it really changed the whole song for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. All right, how about Ghostbusters? I mean, that song jumped to number one in more than 50 nations. How did that come about?
yeah. That came about because they liked all the other stuff I did, and they had hired everybody. I think Kenny Loggins and Lindsey Buckingham and a bunch of famous people to write the song, but nobody could write a song with the words Ghostbusters in it and still keep it musical. And so Gary LaMelle, who's the vice president of Columbia Pictures, called me up and he needed a favor. He wanted me to help him with this film. And I was like, I don't know nothing about no ghosts and writing no film. What are you talking? This ain't what I do. And he was like, no, you're the right guy to do this. I know you can do it. And you know what? At the end of the day, he was right, and I was wrong. I was the right guy to do it, and because I saw the Ghostbuster characters as military characters. They had the costumes on, so therefore I made like a military song, which is almost like Sergeant Carter and Gomer Pyle. Sound off, one, two, sound off. So that's what that is. It's like marching music, and then you go, "Who you gonna call?" Ghostbusters. So it's real stiff. And it just worked. Took caught off.
It worked. It worked big time.
Yeah,
Let's do one more. I don't think that man should sleep alone. I think that was a song that was out when I guess when I had met you, I believe. But anyway,
yeah.
did you write that one as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. Love that song.
Mm.
On there, I just came up with that idea because I don't like sleeping alone. Even when my wife is out of town, I don't dig that either. I have to grab my teddy bear or something and cuddle up with it. So I
Mm.
just came to the idea. Well, why should man have to sleep alone? I mean, let's fix this. So I just wrote the music and put it to song. Most of my songs, by the way, start with the lyric ideas.
Okay. So
Yeah,
the lyric first.
yeah, lyrics first most of the time.
Okay. Okay. Now, you told Ebony back in August 1978 that I own myself. I own myself. What does that mean in this crazy world of showbiz for an artist to tell you that I own myself? What do
Well,
you
that
mean?
means more than likely you got your own publishing, you own your own record deal, and all the rest of the stuff. You're not distributing your records because the big guys were doing that all along. But I didn't have to go through like a production company, like I'm signed to so and so's company, like signed to Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones signed you to Warner Brothers, and all that kind of stuff. So everything for me was I didn't have any deals with just about anybody. Just me and Clive Davis. I'd give him the records, he'd sell them, and that was it. And that's a very important thing. I'm making it sound simple, but the more hands you go through, the more money goes out of your hands, out of your
Exactly.
pockets. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
not that anybody's doing you wrong. It's just that's just how it works.
Right. 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 Now, what is an average day like for you? Do you spend most of your days in your home studio and all of that, or just an average?
That sounds exciting, but my home studio is in LA and I'm
Okay.
almost never here that much. So
Okay.
no. Average day for me is I like to go to casino, play video poker, early in the morning. Then I go get me a coffee at Starbucks. And believe it or not, sometimes I just sit at home for an hour or two and just play my acoustic guitar.
Oh,
Not
okay.
for anybody to hear, just for me to hear. Just thinking of ideas and just fooling around with it. And I got some small equipment up there that I put it down. I'm not gonna have a big studio up there because all the musicians are in LA. So I need a studio in LA if I'm gonna record. But
Right.
just hanging out, having a good time. I'm not really interested in playing a 120 city tour, but I'll go to Japan once a year. I'll go to different places and play. If I play 25 shows in a year, that's a lot for me.
That's good that you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just fun to do. I don't have like a big show because I don't have a band rehearsed and I don't keep people on salary and stage and lights and all that kind of stuff. But a couple of one-offs, especially around Halloween time, there's always somebody who wants to pay me way too much money to sing that one song at their house,
Okay. Okay.
or a
Okay.
casino. So we go do that every Halloween. But it's other than that, I'm pretty blessed. Man. I'm just having a great time. I got my grandson, my first grandson. He's 10 months old, and I got
Mm.
my fourth son. So between all of that, it's lots for me to do.
Yeah.
I'm not at all bored.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still fly your own plane and all that? Or
No,
no?
I got glaucoma in my eyes, so I had to stop flying
Oh.
quite some time
Oh.
ago. That's
Yeah.
probably the biggest bummer because I really love flying,
Yeah.
around. But my
Yeah.
eyes are just not that good anymore. And
I,
so when you're flying 300 miles an hour, you should be able to see where you're going, and read the charts and the
a little
maps. Yeah,
bit.
just a
Just
little
a
bit.
little
Yeah,
bit.
just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now your first big break came as a studio musician at Motown when you were just a teenager. So
Yeah.
how did that come about? I mean, this like you were like a
Well,
child.
it's interesting. I was doing. I remember a lot of the Hollanders or Holland records when they left Motown. I was doing a bunch of their records, and I was doing a lot of the records from Marvin Gaye at the time, just about everything. But I remember the first time I actually went into Motown Studios, the one that you to hear about, where all the hits were called the Snake Pit. And
Mhm.
Paul Reiser, famous arranger, called me down there. James Jamerson was there. All the funk brothers were there. And I'm thinking, boy, life can't get any better. And then in walks Smokey Robinson. I'm like 15 years old, like, oh my gosh, what is this? Life can't get much better than this. So yeah, growing up in Detroit had its advantages at that point because when I got popular in Detroit, I was working with all the key people.
And you also worked with Stevie Wonder, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, that's my biggest influence. Stevie taught me how to write songs and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's where I learned all of that is from him. And
Oh.
I never thought I would be a Stevie Wonder, but I was like, well, can't I be like 2% of Stevie Wonder? That'll be just fine with me. You know what I mean? Can I have 2% of that talent?
Yeah,
And the biggest gift he gave to me is because he was recording me in the studio and we were working together. It took my confidence level to a whole nother dimension. So from that day forward, I figured, well, I got to just work harder. And if people say, yeah, your stuff don't sound good, you ain't got no hit. To me, it was me. Well, that means I don't have a hit today. I mean, I must be getting ready to get a hit. Otherwise, Stevie Wonder wouldn't have wasted so much time with me. So, it's like I spoke to Beethoven of the 20th century while listening to you people telling me I ain't happening.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. You also you mentioned songwriting. You did the big record for Chaka Khan years ago.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that song was a pretty interesting song. I had met her a year before with Stevie Wonder. She wanted me to listen to her tape, and I kind of blew her off, because I thought she was cute and I had other ideas for her. And and then ironically, just to show you how God has a sense of humor, a year or so later, I write the song and the same girl is there listening to it and singing it. And I probably could have owned the whole band if I just listened to the tape and signed her. But yeah, so I wrote the music, then I went out of town and she wrote the lyrics and sang it. And I had never heard her sing before. But man, she's probably the greatest singer of our decade. I mean, she has an unbelievable voice, and just the way I put her up right up there with Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye and Shaka Khan can do things with their voice that no one even imagined. You know, other people have great sounding voices and they're great singers, but those two in particular, they know how to phrase and just make the voice do something with the harmonies and the things and ranges that you never would imagine. I mean,
Mm,
true geniuses.
yeah. What was the name of that song that you wrote for her?
You got the love.
You Got the Love. That was
Yeah.
big. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you also wrote New Edition's Mr. Telephone Man. Tell us
yeah.
how did that come about?
Well, I wrote that pretty much the same time I wrote Jack and Jill and some other things, and I didn't like that song, Mr. Telephone Man. So I canned it. And then later I took it back out of can and I rewrote the words to A Woman Needs Love, just like you do.
Oh,
If you listen to those tracks, they're pretty similar. They both
okay.
go doom, doo doo, doom, 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 doo doo, doom, Mr. Telephone, dun, 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 dun. A woman needs love. They're about the same tempo, the same
Yeah,
everything was
yeah,
going on.
yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was a better idea, Woman Needs Love. And then a new edition heard a copy of Telephone Man. They said, we like that one, just like it is. I was like, you like that? I mean, I can that. I wasn't going to put that out. And so I cut it on them and shoot, we had the biggest record ever.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
What made you decide to sing? Because at one point you were a studio musician, songwriter, but all of a
Yeah.
sudden you wanted to become a vocalist.
Well, the thing about singing, is if you don't sing, then you're trying to write the song for somebody else to sing, which is actually harder than if you sing it yourself. And at that time, I had never tried to sing, so I couldn't sing in the beginning, very well. And it's one of those things like anything else. It's just a muscle. Like if you do push-ups, if you start with one push-up, you work your way up to 20. Same thing with vocals. First of all, everybody can sing because everybody has an individual sounding voice, just like they have an individual face. And so you just have to keep practicing and keep practicing. And then you got to find the right kind of music that fits your voice. In the beginning, I thought I was going to sound more like Teddy Pendergrass or Rick James combined, and my voice was nothing like that. I'll never forget after Jack and Jill, I ran into George Clinton because he's from Detroit. And George looked at me and I thought I was doing something funky and had all that. He says, man, I like how you cut a funky track and put those California vocals on there so you could cross over to the pop charts, you know. And I was like, is that a compliment? Wait, what is that? You know? And so he was actually complimenting me, but I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to be more street and more Detroit, but my voice just had a different kind of pop sound to it, you know. So they accepted it on those radio stations and it crossed over and just went where it went on its own. It's not like I was trying to do it, but he thought I was most clever at how I pulled that off, you know, on the
Okay.
first record.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
All right. I always ask this question: Who inspired you to believe that you could have a career in music? Who told you that you were special, talented, great personality, and all those kind of endearing
Well,
qualities?
well, again, back to that. The person that gave that to me the most would be Stevie Wonder. I mean, because Stevie Wonder was probably one of the few people who were able to do it. You know, and let's not discount. You know, the first band I ever toured with was the Spinners. So Billy Henderson, I owe a lot to. He gave me the confidence to go out and play with the first Motown act, let's say. And then working with Marvin Gaye, that didn't hurt either. If Marvin Gaye is sitting there, I used to say to myself, "Well, you guys say I'm a loser in high school, but Marvin Gaye wants me sitting with him in the studio. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know." But the biggest one, and single-handedly, would be Stevie Wonder. I mean, when I was growing up, Stevie Wonder was the genius. You know, he was the genius of Motown, and he's the one that I idolized the most. So by the time I was so blessed for him to call me in particular, and then him to work on songs with me and work on me playing and helping me out with all the stuff, that really pushed me over the edge. That gave me the confidence and gave me the ideas to do new things.
Got it. You and your wife Elaine, you all share four sons. Have they
Yeah.
shown any interest in music?
The two younger ones are.
Oh,
My son Gibson Parker, he's got about 385,000 viewers on um, Spotify or something like that. He's got 20 million listeners on his last song.
really?
Yeah, 20 million streams. And then my other son is Jericho Parker. And they're both really talented, really good. You'll hear more music for them. And they've already got a lot of it posted up now. But their problem is they got to get more aggressive. Their sales force sucks. You know what I mean? And it's
Mm.
probably because they don't really come from the street and they're not really as hungry as I am. I mean, they're gonna eat Wagyu steak regardless of whatever happens, you know. So it's not the same thing as you're gonna starve tomorrow if you don't get this music out this afternoon, you know. So they don't have that kind of a get up and go.
Okay. All right. Do you have any, well, I'm sure you do. Who are your friends in show business?
Oh, I got a lot of friends in show
Yeah.
business. Reggie Dozier, Lamont Dozier, his brother, he helped me build my first studio, so we were close. Prince was a friend, but he's passed. Marvin Gaye's passed. Barry White's passed. Gene Page just passed. Those are some of the people I hang with now. Me and Shania Twain are pretty close. You know, we take vacations together and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a few people. Me and Bobby Brown been hanging out a lot lately. Yeah,
Oh,
me and the New Edition, Bobby Brown, Mike Tyson. You know, so there's some people that I see pretty often. I see Jeffrey Osborne pretty often. You know, he just lost his wife too.
I know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5, 6 days ago. That was a terrible story. And Raphael Sadiq, I forgot, he lost his brother.
Yes, Dwayne.
Tony, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I lost my best friend Kevin Tony last year, the guy that was leader of the Blackbirds. You know, I went to high school with Kevin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And every gig I played in Japan or anywhere, Kevin was my keyboard player. Me and him traveled the world together.
Mm.
And so he just passed. So it's yeah, some of that's kind of a little nutsy.
There's too much going on. Too much
Yeah.
going on. My God. There's a film on your life. Who you gonna call? Is that still available?
Yes. Yeah, they put it on. In fact, they released it twice because they
Oh,
released the film last year. So they put it on all the airplanes and everything last year too.
oh,
So
nice.
everybody I know that flew overseas or flew to New York was looking at me on American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines.
Okay,
And it was
okay.
on Prime, it's on Prime Video and several other things. So
Oh,
mine has been out 2.5 years and it hasn't even got to Netflix yet because that's free. So it's still on all the pay-per-view channels. So it did pretty well. It's
okay.
still doing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look for that on Prime Video for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But I guess we're almost done here. The last question is, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, I know how I'm gonna be remembered for who you gonna call. That's it. Yeah. And I ain't afraid no ghosts. And hey, and busting makes me feel good, right? That's it. I mean, so anything other than that, I appreciate if they can remember that I played music and played the guitar. But some people don't even know I'm in the music business. They just think I did the one song and disappeared, you know. But that song is so big and it's so magical. There's not a song that I've written out of many, many hits that I've had that can affect a 5-year-old kid today or a 10-year-old kid today. Man, I go somewhere and they say, "Who's that old guy?" And next thing you know, they say, "That's the guy that sings." Who you gonna call? Man, they want to sit on my lap and take a picture. I mean, it's like
Mm,
just totally, it just totally changes everything. And so that by far is my favorite song. And I know I'm probably be remembered for that because it just lit the world up and made everybody happy. You know, it's like more than just a song. It's a timeless piece of music and it really makes all the kids and all the adults too. Everybody gets a smile on their face when you say he wrote that song.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to share since we got you here? Anything else on your
Yeah,
mind?
since you got me here, I'd like to thank you for all your years of support back at Jet and all the stuff we
Uh,
used to do. And
yeah.
I'm just thankful to everybody, the public, for accepting my music and buying it and supporting it and all that. And it's because my future, where I grew up, I was gonna have to end up working at Ford, GM, or Chrysler, you know,
Mm,
with some boots on in the factory. And the idea that I've actually been able to support myself just playing music and doing what I love, I don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life, and it's the biggest blessing I could ever have.
yeah. Any chance of any more new music coming?
Yeah, there's a lot of new music I got. I got over 20 something songs finished. And
Oh,
and and the thing I got to do now is I got to stop and figure out, well, how do you put that out now? I mean, in the old days, I go see an A&R person at a record company. I cut a deal with a record company and I put it out. And so my kids are like, it ain't how it's done now, you know.
no,
So I
no.
don't really, the truth is, I really don't know how it's done now.
Mm.
I wrote the song "Who You Gonna Call" and I don't know who to call. You
You
know?
don't know. You
Yeah, I
don't
don't know
know.
who to call.
And if you
But
don't know, we
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, so
Mm.
right now that's what I'm looking into. I got to figure out what's the best way to do that and get some of it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I thank you very much for being
Yeah.
available, Ray. It's
And
been a
by the way,
long.
the title of my new album, if it's going to be an album, they tell me to put one song out at a time. But the title of things is going to be "Make America High Again."
Make America hot again.
High again.
Hi.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make America high again.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you very much for your time. This has been so good. I
Yeah,
haven't seen you really talk to you since 2015 out there in
yeah.
LA at Aretha's concert. Do you remember that time?
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that very
yeah,
well. I got
Creative
pictures from
Pain.
that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the pictures. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That was a great concert
yeah.
by our girl Aretha. All
Yeah, I
right.
miss her. I miss Aretha. She was a really kind person to me,
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
And you worked for her as well, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
played on her records as well. Yeah,
Studio work. Yeah, yeah. Yes, indeed. Well,
yeah.
thank you again. Before we close, I got to do a quick little shout out to Howard Sandifer and his wife Darlene Sandifer. They are the founders of the Chicago West Community Music Center, a great school on the west side of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
This whole video podcast was their idea. They
Right.
said, let's reach out to legends like Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah,
and newsmakers and have lively conversations. So I think that we just had another lively conversation, man.
that's right.
So,
Yeah. And let's thank the Standifers for that.
yes, thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah,
Thank y'all.
exactly.
And for the viewers, please click like and subscribe. Please click like and subscribe. See you next time.